The most dangerous thing in your life right now is the chair you're sitting in, the blanket, the temperature you've set to exactly 72 degrees. You've spent years building a life where nothing scrapes against you, and you called it success. It was decay wearing the costume of reward. Here's what nobody tells you when you finally get comfortable. The capacity to handle hard things is a muscle, not a fixed trait you were born with. And muscles that go unused shrink. So the question that should keep you up at night is simple. What exactly are you becoming while you rest? Think about the last time something small went wrong. A delayed flight. A cold meal sent back twice. A conversation that didn't go your way. Watch how big your reaction was compared to how small the problem actually was. That gap is the tell. That gap is the receipt for years of avoiding discomfort. And the bill is coming due in ways you haven't connected yet. There's a word for what happens to a body left in a hospital bed for 2 weeks. Atrophy. The legs that carried you up mountains forget how. A young, healthy person on strict bed rest can lose a real chunk of muscle strength in a single week. The body runs on a brutal economy. It refuses to pay for what you don't use. And your mind runs on the exact same accounting. This is where most people make their first mistake. They assume resilience is about big tragedies, surviving the divorce, the diagnosis, the bankruptcy. But the people who collapse under those weights were softened quietly over 1,000 small surrenders. The extra hour of sleep, the skipped workout, the hard conversation postponed again. Each one felt harmless. Together, they hollowed out the structure. So what's actually happening inside when you choose comfort over and over? Your brain is doing something efficient and terrifying at the same time. It prunes what you don't use and strengthens what you repeat. Repeat avoidance, and you build a faster, smoother highway straight to avoidance for everything. The path of least resistance gets paved, widened, and lit. Soon it's the only road you can find in the dark. And the cruel part, it feels good the whole way down. That's the trap inside the trap. Consider the work of researchers who studied how people respond to controllable stress. Animals given small, manageable challenges they could overcome became more resilient afterward. Their nervous systems learned a quiet, durable lesson. I can affect what happens to me. The ones shielded from all stress or flooded with stress they couldn't escape learned the opposite. Helplessness. The dose makes the medicine. Zero discomfort is the slow training of a creature that believes it has no power. You've felt this yourself. The week you traveled somewhere hard, slept badly, got lost, figured it out anyway, you came home different, lighter, more yourself than 3 weeks back in the routine, and that version of you evaporated. Where did she go? She went nowhere. You just stopped giving her anything to push against. Here's the uncomfortable truth about the life you've optimized. Every convenience you added removed a small rep. The dishwasher? Fine. The food that arrives in 20 minutes. The car that parks itself. The app that ends the awkward phone call. None of these are evil. Stacked together across a decade, they add up to a person who has outsourced every moment of friction. And friction was the only thing keeping you strong. I want to be honest with you, because the easy version of this message is a lie. Some discomfort isn't growth. Grinding poverty doesn't build character. It grinds people down. Chronic illness, abuse, a brain wired toward despair by circumstances you didn't choose. Telling someone in genuine crisis to just embrace the struggle is cruelty dressed as wisdom. Willpower is no substitute for medicine, money, or safety. Hold that. But notice the sleight of hand your mind just tried to pull. It heard that some suffering is unchosen and tried to file your skipped cold shower in the same drawer. Your nervous system would love for you to believe your minor inconveniences belong in the same category as real catastrophe. That's the comfort talking. It will use compassion for others as an excuse for your own softness. The discomfort that builds you is the kind you choose, in a dose you can handle, with a way out you don't take. The hard run you could quit but finish. The honest sentence you could swallow but say. The cold water you could skip but step into. Voluntary, manageable, repeated. I log mine in Hone. Free, no account, just a daily streak counter. Link in the description. Because seeing the number keeps the repetition honest. That's the whole formula, and there's nothing mystical in it. Let me show you what reclaiming this looks like, because it's smaller than you fear. A man I'll call Daniel spent his 40s terrified of confrontation. He'd rehearse hard conversations and then send a text instead. His fix was no retreat and no guru. He started saying one true, slightly uncomfortable thing per day. To a barista, to his boss, to his wife. Within months, he became the man he'd buried under 20 years of smoothing things over. That's the part we're sitting with. The strong version of you isn't somewhere in the future waiting to be earned through suffering. It already exists. It's just underused, atrophied, present. Every hard thing you choose is calling someone home. So why does comfort disguise itself so well as a reward? Because the timing is rigged. Comfort pays you immediately and charges you later. The couch feels like victory tonight. The cost shows up in 6 months as a body that aches getting off that same couch. Discomfort does the reverse. It charges you now in sweat and awkwardness and cold, and pays you later in a self that doesn't flinch. We are wired to grab the now and ignore the later. That wiring was useful when the later might never come. It's a liability in a life where the later always does. And the bill from comfort isn't only physical, it's who you become to the people around you. The person who can't handle anything makes everyone else handle them. The friend who needs the restaurant changed. The parent whose mood sets the temperature of the whole house. Fragility leaks. It quietly hands your discomfort to the people who love you and asks them to carry it. There's a deeper cost still, and it hides in your imagination. The more comfort insulates you, the smaller your sense of what you can survive becomes. You start declining invitations your younger self would have leapt at. The trip with the long flight, the job that scares you, the class where you'd be the worst in the room. Each no feels like prudence. It's really just the shrinking. Your world contracts to fit the size of your tolerance, and your tolerance has been quietly shrinking for years. A life can get very small without a single dramatic moment. It just gets one comfortable inch smaller 10,000 times until the walls are close enough to touch. There's a counter argument worth taking seriously here. Some will say rest is sacred, that hustle culture has burned a generation out, that the answer to exhaustion can't possibly be more strain. They're right about exhaustion. Real burnout is real, and pushing a depleted system harder just breaks it faster. But rest and comfort are two different animals. Rest is what you do to recover from exertion. Comfort, the kind we're talking about, is what you do instead of exertion. One restores capacity, the other quietly removes the need for any. Learn to tell them apart, and most of this gets clear. So how do you start without burning your life down? You need no monastery and no ice bath empire. You reintroduce small chosen friction into the places you've sanded smooth. Take the stairs when the elevator is right there. Have the conversation you've been texting around. Sit with boredom for 10 minutes without reaching for the glowing rectangle. Let yourself be a little cold, a little hungry, a little bored, a little wrong in public. Each one is a single rep. Nobody gets strong from one. Everybody gets strong from a habit. And watch what happens to that gap I mentioned earlier. The space between how big your reaction is and how small the problem is. As you practice, it shrinks. The delayed flight becomes a delayed flight. The cold meal becomes a cold meal You stop spending your whole emotional budget on inconveniences, and suddenly there's a reserve there for the things that actually deserve it. That reserve has a name. People used to just call it strength. Here's the reframe that changes everything you do tomorrow morning. Stop asking how to make your life easier. That question, asked 1,000 times across a life, is the slow architecture of a person who can't cope. Start asking a stranger question. Where am I being made weak by kindness? Where is the smoothness in my life actually a slow erosion? The convenience that feels like a gift is often a withdrawal from an account you'll need later. You already know the chair, the blanket, the 72 degrees. You knew it the moment I said it, because some part of you has felt the softening and called it peace. It was the engine idling while the road got steeper. The good news hides inside the bad news. If comfort can quietly make you someone who can't handle anything, then discomfort, chosen in doses you can take, can quietly make you someone who can handle nearly everything. The same mechanism that softened you will rebuild you. It never stopped working. You just stopped using it. So tonight, when the easy choice opens its arms and tells you you've earned it, look closely at what it's actually offering. A slow trade. Your future capacity for your present ease. At an exchange rate that always favors the house, step toward the cold thing instead. Not because suffering is noble, because the person you're trying to become is already in there doing push-ups in the dark, waiting for you to give them something to push against. The strong go looking for the weight. Go find yours.